thank you for taking the time to be here today for our first meeting of the School Attendance and School Climate Committee. I'll tell you, as I was reading the protocols and reading about the committee and some of the motivations for the committee, I was struck by what we all know intuitively, but what the research is really clear on, and that is school absenteeism, and particularly chronic school absenteeism, is a harbinger of bad outcomes for our children. It obviously has a negative impact on grades and test scores, but in the long term, it's much more damaging. I mean, I think we all know intuitively, and again, the research bears it out, that when you're chronically absent from school, that greatly increases the risk that you will ultimately drop out. And when you drop out, that really diminishes opportunities in the job market, opportunities to enter the job market, and certainly opportunities to move up in the job market. Sadly, a child who never finishes high school is also at much greater risk of being in front of me one day in Superior Court, and not for a good reason. And we all know there have been laws on the books for years that require attendance and provide for corrective measures of one kind or another towards the children, towards the parents. But it struck me that probably what's been missing, and the reason for this committee, is you really want to have a grassroots effort that involves all of the stakeholders. And I think if we've learned anything in the last 10 or 15 years, and those of you who have been in the education system would probably be like, Judge, it's not 10 or 15 years, it's 4 decades. But I think what we all know is, good outcomes for children, it's not just a teacher thing, and it's not just an administration thing with the school. It's a parent thing. It's good physical health. It's good mental health. It's providing a positive learning environment for the children. And that's all of us in this room. That's not just teachers. It's not just the school board. It's all of us in the room. An effort to identify the problems that underpin what I call the results, which is chronic absenteeism or bullying or a negative school climate. All of those things, those are products of bigger problems that we need to deal with. So we have the School Attendance and School Climate Committee, and you're all here. Well, you'll probably say you're here because you got a letter that says the Superior Court judge wants you here, but you are all here because you are involved in trying to solve the problem, because you are all stakeholders in our mission here. So, and the first thing I want to do is just remind you, and I hope you all read the protocols, but the real focus here is on trying to reduce that absenteeism rate and trying to make sure that we are providing a positive learning environment for our children, because those two things are a key to graduating from high school and moving forward as productive citizens of society, which I think is what we all want for our children here in this community. I would also like to acknowledge and thank a special guest that we have here today, Dr. Gary McGivney. Will you stand up, please, sir?
This is very personal to me, because when I was in high school, I was a high school dropout. But what saved my life, literally, was a patient juvenile judge, a police officer who was a motorcycle cop who took it upon himself to just volunteer to be my mentor, a school counselor who refused to give up on me, and a DFACS worker. So I think I've just covered just about everybody in the room. Literally saved my life, and I was able to get back into school. Now fast forward a few years, and I worked in the Cobb school system, where I dropped out from, became an employee in the Cobb school system, and worked with the juvenile court as a liaison. And I'd heard from school people about student attendance and student discipline, but especially student attendance. We can't do this alone. And I'd go to juvenile court, and juvenile court staff would say, we can't do this alone. And then I talked to the district attorney, we can't do this alone. Go back to my superintendent Ragsdale, and the superintendent said, we can't do this alone. Go to the School Counselors Association for the school district, we can't do this alone. Talk to the parents, PTA, we can't do this alone. So the idea came, well, why don't we all get together? And that was one of the genesis points of the creation of the idea for a protocol. And it was important for that to be housed in Superior Court because of the convening power, obviously. So fast forward again, and working at the Department of Education, I've been around the state looking and working with courts trying to develop their protocols. And I've looked at some. I've looked at actually quite a few. Some are still stuck in neutral, and they have not developed a protocol, but they're still working at it. But I will say, in all honesty, the one that you have here is the best I've seen. And with your and with your permission, Judge Harris, I would like to show it as a protocol, as an example of a protocol for the rest of the state and for other jurisdictions.
I think that'd be a great
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You have an inspiring story. And unfortunately, there are many children that don't have the good outcome that you did, but hopefully this committee is going to be a big part of changing that. So thank you for being with us today, Dr. McGivney.
Actually, 2.5, 3 years ago, I went to Judge Leonard and I said, showed him the statute, and I said, we're supposed to be having this protocol. He said, well, I guess we need to get it together then. So with Mr. Graves, and this is before Ms. Roth came on board, Mr. Graves and I were working on it extremely hard to get everything together. Ms. Bridget Jones was working on it. Many people from Marietta and Cobb County were working on it. And it wasn't until Ms. Roth came on board and brought everything home for us that we were able to finally get the protocol together. So I want to thank everyone that contributed because basically everybody in this room, non-elected, and contributed. From the district attorney's office to Highland Rivers, to the Cobb County school systems, to the Marietta school systems, the social workers. We had numerous lunch meetings and everything else, and I just want to thank everyone now that we have this finished product, and I'm really looking forward to moving this forward. So thank you, everyone.
One time I had to speak in front of a bunch of principals, and all of a sudden I got up and just was like, I can't. So it kind of feels a little bit like that now, but I wanted to thank you all so much for being here. And I know that I'd like to thank Judge Granis for really taking this on, and Judge Hamby and Judge West, my colleagues, especially Chief Judge Harris as well, and Mr. Hansard and Ms. Roth and Mr. Graves for really taking the bull by the horns with this. It's really been amazing that you all have done this. Between us, the people that I just mentioned, we have so many children in the, I think, Cobb County School District. And so it's really important to us, and I just want to say that because I want you all to know that we are with you and that we are behind you. We understand that this is a lot to do, and that we have a lot of work to do, and we are all very excited to be on this journey with you. Just these past 2 weeks, we were just discussing, I've had 2 children from separate families. Their mothers pulled them out of school when they were 8 years old, and now they're teenagers, and we just don't even know what to do with them because how do you go to high school if you don't know do they know how to read? It's just been a lot. It's been a journey so far, but we really needed a place to start, and I think that this is going to be it. So thank you all so much for coming to the table, and we are all very excited to get started with you. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm, like everyone said, I'm Jill Roth. I'm the Judicial Staff Attorney with Cobb County Juvenile Court. I've been there since September 2023. And one of my first assignments that was kind of given to me was we need to figure out the Student Attendance and Climate Committee and develop the protocol. And so I built off of everything that everyone had already done. I know I worked closely with Bridget Jones from our court and Anna Murphy from the Cobb County Schools to develop a draft. And so many of you provided helpful comments on that. Judge Murphy, many other people provided comments and really helped get it to where it is today. like Dr. McGibbony, I have a kind of personal connection to this issue. When I was 14 years old, I ran away from home and was gone for a month and a half, and I missed about 2 months of school, and I was expelled for habitual truancy from my school in California, which was part of why I moved to Georgia. And then I attended three more high schools before I finally graduated from Phoenix High School, which is an alternative school in Gwinnett County. And I was so lucky to have some really inspiring educators at Phoenix who helped me see the potential that I had within me and really helped me believe in myself and see that it was even a possibility for me to catch up and graduate high school. And they just completely changed my trajectory. I could have very easily been in a very, very different place today were it not for those educators. And we have similarly wonderful educators here in Cobb, and I know that because I have 2 kids in Cobb County schools and have worked closely with their teachers and educators, and I think we have the potential to really help all children see their full potential. But the kids have to be in the seats in order for them to get there, and it takes a village to raise a child, and we are that village. Like, that's us. Like, we're all part of this village. And you know how kids will play divorced parents off each other and things like that. You know, it's the same way with systems, and I knew that as a kid. And, you know, so I have some sort of inside knowledge there on how, you know, like, okay, well, you know, if it's coming in at a different angle now than I was at it when I was 14. But I know that it really takes a village to raise a child, and I look forward to working with all of you and our continued collaborations to get all our kids in seats where they can achieve an education and realize their full potential. Thank you.